What's up, Fight Family? Back for Gloved Up episode 2. I'm your host still, I guess. And hopefully for a long time, Ryan Aarons. Shout out to Realism Sports for keeping us alive, for keeping us under the umbrella. It's all in the family, baby. We're rolling. Man, what an event we had in Kansas for the UFC. It was stellar. Were you excited? Were you entertained? Because I was. Just a full card. I was extremely happy with the way that Max Holloway fight went. I think we're turning a corner with Max. I think we're seeing a little more patience. I think we're seeing a little more, I wouldn't say any better technical fighting. I would just simply say he's timing his shots a little better. He's not willing to risk his face a whole lot more, which is good for him, obviously, in the long run. And we'll talk a little more about that, especially that main event, in deep detail later on in the show. And then about what's next for those two. Arnold put up a great fight. A defensive showcase, honestly, in my opinion, keeping Max from really butchering him, because they could have gotten ugly there. If there were 5 more minutes in that last round, Arnold was being put to the mat, at least for the first time. I have news on Jones and Stipe Miocic. I thought that fight was booked. I don't know about y'all, but I was solely convinced that fight was done and ready to go for International Fight Week. Apparently it's not. We're going to find out who's ducking who, and 2 old men fighting on Twitter, which we all love to see, especially nowadays with old men and Twitter. Anyway, looking now to the future and what the UFC has in store for us, the fans. Why the fuck is Curtis Blaydes fighting Sergei Paplovich? Isn't that a waste for Curtis Blaydes? Hasn't he worked hard enough to earn himself an opportunity at the title? Why is Sergei the number 1 contender all of a sudden? A lot more, and we're gonna hold off on predictions for that. We're gonna make that Friday show, but let's get right into it. Kansas Fight Night recap. I want to start with Brandon Royval. 15-6, and as I'm looking right here on the rankings, number 4 in the flyweight division. Sorry, had to refresh. It's been a wild Monday. Why do we have him at number 4 and pulling the curtain for the main event card? Why isn't he on the main card? I get it, he's 15-6, but guys, aren't you a little pissed off that you have a top 5 guy pulling the curtain? I'd be pissed off. I am pissed off. He's a great little fighter. I would love to see him be at 20-6, or maybe not have 6 losses in the column at all. But as a top 5 guy, you gotta expect a little more respect. And quite honestly, that being on the early fight card is a little disrespectful. I mean, yes, he's 15-6, and that division isn't as stacked as it used to be. In fact, it's really top heavy, but he's in the top heavy side. Brandon Royval, I'm with you. The first round KO deserves a little respect. I think you still need one more first round or second round finish to be back on main cards, pay-per-view fights even. Maybe earn some pay-per-view points. But you're exciting. The fans love you. I'm with you, especially what you said in the post. You bring a level of excitement to the division that only Brandon Moreno rivals. I'm all on board with you, man. I think you're a great fighter. I think you have just as much knockout potential as Brandon Moreno. Devinson Figueiredo's gone too. Who's going to fill his shoes? Is it you, Brandon? Dana doesn't think so, and that's why you're on the undercard, which is interesting. Are you on the undercard for a reason, Brandon? You talking a little too much shit? You playing the wrong character? I mean, what do you need to do? I don't know. You tell me. I'm the one proposing a question. Fans, why is Brandon Royval still on the undercard? Does he even belong on back on pay-per-views? I think he does. I think he's a top dog. I think he hits just as hard. He's just as fast. He's just as technical. I think he brings a level of excitement, like I've said. I think you put Brandon Royval Do you match him up? Do you match him up with Kai Kara France next? Is that what you do? Maybe that's the interim. Because who's Brandon going to face? It's not going to be Figueiredo for a fifth time. Figueiredo said he's moving up to face, hopefully, Aljamain Sterling if he retains in the bantamweight. But that's what I'm saying. Who do you have left for Brandon to face? He beat Kai Kara for the interim. Kai Kara's still reeling. I think looking at the rankings right now, I think you put Alexander, whatever the hell that last name is, oh my God, against Brandon, give him a shot. I think you can't put Kai Kara France again for an interim. I think that's disrespectful. Does Matus Nicola come face Brandon Royval? Maybe a Matt Schnell? God, it's just... And I'm not liking the look of Tim Elliott at number 11. That division is just so blah and so... It's super top-heavy, guys. I mean, 1 through 5 could all beat each other interchangeably. I think Kai Kara gave Brandon Moreno the fight of his damn life until Brandon Moreno just ended it. But Brandon Moreno did not come out of that fight unscathed. His eye was fucked up. I don't know a whole lot about this number 2 guy, Alexandra Pantoja. Sorry if I butchered that. But I still think, again, I don't know about number 2. But if Devison stays, that's just a disaster for the top of that division. That fight is so damn stale. I won't watch it again. I won't. I think you might go Kai Kara France and Moreno 3. But I think Brandon Royval, don't sleep on him. He's coming up fast. He's coming up really fast. He might get a title shot after that. I mean, that first round knockout, was so brutal. He might get it. Moving on. Again, Brandon Royval, keep your eye on him. The next card he's on, watch it. If you didn't watch him on this card, he's a special fighter. 15-6 is deceiving. When he first started fighting, he was getting his ass whooped by these now top 3 guys above him. Do not sleep on Brandon. Brandon versus Brandon would be pretty funny, I guess. We had a double retirement, guys. Zach Cummings and Ed Herman. What I felt seeing that, of course, it was cool. You know, first ever time doing it in the UFC, a double retirement. What spoke to me the loudest is that the light heavyweight division is getting stale and getting old. You look at those top 5 guys. I'm looking at them right now. Here we go. Yuri Prohaska, probably the youngest guy there. Magomed Ankalaev in his 30s. Jan Blachowicz, almost 40. Alexander Rakic, old. Anthony Smith, almost 40. Nikita Krylov, older. Ozdemir, older. Paul Craig, older. Ryan Spann, not young. Dominic Reyes, not even a contender in my book. Holy shit, not even worth talking about. Just stale. Why is Dominic Reyes even near the top 10, guys? What are we doing here? He is a shell of himself. He's a shell of a man. He is your unnecessary gateway fight. He's beatable. He's the most beatable guy in the division. But again, this division is just getting old, and like there hasn't been a whole lot of new talent since John Jones has left. John Jones left this division it was chaos. It was a big tornado of chaos. Tornadoes themselves are inherently chaotic. I don't know why I had to double down on that. But it hasn't developed into anything special since his departure. He was the special of the light heavyweight division. And a lot of people left with him. I mean, where's Gustafsson? Getting his ass beat. I mean, DC obviously retired, got fat, sitting at the counter now. A lot of respect for DC. Loved his body of work. But again, a lot of these guys, 1 through 5, If they're not 40, they're almost 40. And Glover Teixeira was just such a special case, guys. He was so talented and so good at what he did, which was play his game and make the fight his game, that he could last that long. But I don't see the way Jan Blachowicz trains and takes punishment. I don't see him going to 40. I don't see Anthony Smith is losing to, and I love Anthony Smith. You heard in my last video, one of my favorite fighters right now. He just takes too much punishment. He doesn't win enough. He's not going to be around when he's 40. Magomed Ankalaev just isn't spectacular for me. I think if he loses one or two more times, he's just no longer a contender. I think your most excitement in the light heavyweight division is potentially going to be if Alex Pereira decides to step in. I think he goes immediate top 5. I think if Jan Blachowicz chooses to fight Alex Pereira, I think Pereira makes that really hard for Jan. I would love to see that fight. I hope that happens. I think Jan Blachowicz is fighting, though. I haven't looked too far ahead. I think UFC 290. I think Jan Blachowicz is already committed to a fight. I'll have to check. That'll be episode 3. I'll have confirmation for that episode 3 for y'all. I think Jan Blachowicz is already committed to a fight. If not, I mean, amazing. I would love to see maybe, gosh, who's a good matchup? I don't want to see Anthony Smith face him. That's a terrible matchup. Well, I mean, Anthony Smith has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. That would be interesting, actually. But I think Anthony Smith's jaw hasn't been the same since Glover Teixeira punched his teeth out. I think Anthony Smith gets knocked out by Alex Pereira quick. Probably 2 or 3 rounds. I'd love to see, actually, Johnny Walker take on Pereira. I know what kind of heat I probably just caused with some of y'all hearing that. But Johnny Walker is the dynamic striker. And he's kind of back. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. If he can stay healthy and actually put the damn work in like he did for the Paul Craig fight, that'd be a fun little fight. I still think Pereira takes it. But I think it finishes that fight. But that would be a fun first round. Because Johnny Walker's not afraid of anybody. Even though he should be afraid of some people, especially Alex Pereira. But I think that fight is fun. I think that would draw a lot, especially it being Alex Pereira's first 205 fight. I think you still get a draw there. It's not main event pay-per-view worthy, but it's match 2 or 3 in on a main card for sure. But again, that light heavyweight division is just getting stale. It's getting old. People are literally aging out. They're literally getting too old to figure out in a quick time how to get to the top. So they're retiring. It's wild. Just wild. Sticking with the light heavyweight division for a little bit, Ion Cutelaba, I like your stuff, man. You're not in the top 15, but you're a fun fighter to watch. I've been watching his fights for a while now. He's had some really unlucky breaks, especially with the Magomed Ankalaev fight. I think he wasn't knocked out. I think the ref stopped that a little early for me. I still remember that. That was years ago now. I don't think that fight's worth a shit now, especially how fast Magomed Ankalaev rose after that. But that was fun. That was really fun, especially this fight. I think that was one of his better performances. That first round finish was ruthless. I like how he starts on the gas and has enough confidence in his fists to I mean, at least get you hurt. I mean, just that ruthless takedown and then just the jack fists right to the face, and the ref saw enough. I mean, it was exciting. Do I think he'll ever be a contender? No. I think he's got 2 more years in him, and then he just ages out like the rest of this damn division. But it was fun. It was a good palate cleanser for some of the staleness that was right before. Oh, let's see here. What else do I have? Again, sticking with the light heavyweight division, Azamat Murzakanov. the professional. Still a clean record here. We're still sitting at 13-0. Is this a dangerous 13-0? Well, you're in the top 15, Azamat. You're in the top 15. Where do I see you fighting? I'd love to see you fight Dominic Reyes, actually. I think right now that's the best fight for you at number 11. I think you're right there at the top 10, Azamat. As a fight fan, your styles would be explosive. I think his hands are crispy. I think Dominic Reyes is a little reachy, but from this fight, Azamat eliminates any reach advantage you think you have over him. He's a tank. He's a tank. He took everything. I think he lost that last round. I will say there was a surge there from his opponent. I think he took a little more than he gave, but the way he just dominated those first 2 rounds. Sorry, I need a drink. I think the way he dominated those first 2 rounds was just a clinic. I think it was a striking clinic. I think he's a tank. I'd like to, if Dominic Reyes is still fighting, which, I mean, they still have him ranked and have him moving up, I would like to see that. I would like to see Azamat versus Dominic Reyes on possibly the main event of a fight night main card. I think that'd be interesting. Yeah, still undefeated, 13-0. Wow, hats off to you, man. Edson Barboza's back, folks, and he came back with a bang. First round knockout. Crazy knee lift as his opponent was going in he was shooting a double leg. Cleaned his clock, knocked him out. He got back up pretty damn quick, but he didn't even know what happened. He didn't even know. It was crazy. Edson Barboza, guys, he's crispy. He's crispy, but he's old. He's crispy, but he's old. I think he's in the featherweight division, maybe lightweight. He could probably weigh in at both. I don't see him making a run at either of those. Yeah, he's in featherweight, confirmed. Should have done a little more research, Ryan. Damn, I'm going to get roasted online for that. He's holding 14 rank. But guess who's at the top of a stacked division? My man, Alexander Volkanovski. Edson Barboza, your next fight's probably going to be, I don't know, Bryce Mitchell's already fighting in this next card, or the next pay-per-view, sorry. Do you fight Ilia Topuria? He's a savage. I think that fight would be fucking crazy. 2 super crispy strikers. Ilia Topuria is a monster. I mean, he's a monster wrestler. Edson Barboza is super crispy, light on his feet, leg kicks. Could take away Ilia Topuria's wrestling, could compromise that front leg enough to where he doesn't shoot, because you need legs to wrestle, guys. I mean, that's just facts. You know that. You're educated enough on fights. You need legs to wrestle. You take that front leg away from Ilia Topuria, that neutralizes the wrestling. And then it comes down to striking, and these guys are monsters. You saw what Ilia Topuria did to Bryce Mitchell. That shit was bananas. He ate him up, made him look like a little boy in that ring. After Bryce Mitchell saying all that. I love Bryce Mitchell, and you know what? I'm probably not going to talk about him as much after that loss. I think him being undefeated was his biggest draw. But all the shit he said about God's on my side and God has helped me, fear no man. You should have feared Ilia Topuria, little man. That shit was bananas. I can't believe you got pieced up the way you did. Oh, I mean, he made you look little, Bryce. Wow. But back to Edson. If you're going to make a run, you got to do it soon. But that division is just so stacked. I mean, listen to this top. I mean, you have Alexander Volkanovski holding. Yair interim. Max Holloway, who is in this main event, we're getting to him. Number 2. Brian Ortega 3. Arnold Allen 4. Josh Emmett 5. Chang Song Jung 6. Who else? Ilia Topuria 9. I mean, just breaching the top 10 is going to be hard, especially in the next. I mean, I'll give you 3 years based on the shape you say you're in. But even then, good luck breaching top 5 if you can beat any of these top 10 guys. I think you lose to Ilya Tapura. I think you go up in weight and just have one hell of a lightweight fight against Dan Hooker or Rafael dos Anjos, and then call it a career, Edson. I've watched a lot of your fights. You're an outstanding fighter, an outstanding champion, but it's just too late. And Father Time waits for nobody. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not a hater, but at 38, what's really next for you, Edson? Seriously. Guys, the main event of the evening. Here we go. Your boy right here called it like he saw it. Max Holloway with a striking clinic yet again. The Blessed stayed up. We're holding at number 2. Terrell, your boy, he came through after a look. Hey, Arnold Allen, props. Holy shit, you gave Max a run. That was probably one of the most exciting 5-round fights I've seen in a long time. That went all 5, and both fighters were just so evenly matched, going back and forth. I gave Arnold Allen, what round did I give him? It was like round 3 or 4. Like he got a round from me. He was exciting. He was not afraid of anything. I love his corner. Like, this is it. It is World War III, D-Day, fight or flight. I mean, what else do you tell a fighter who's down? Like, hey, if you don't get a finish, it's over for you. Your chances of getting a title fight in a year are done right here, right now. I love this corner. I love the new mic in the corner now, staying there. I wish it would alternate back and forth consistently. And I'd say every main card fight, I would love to see that mic going back and forth to each corner, especially like, picture this, like if a fighter, if the crowd knows, or the cameraman, mic guy know a fighter just lost that round, I would love to see them start round 1, loser of that round's corner. What do they have to say? Okay, round 2, and just go back and forth, winner, loser, until the fight's over. Just to get a different perspective on, okay, you're winning. What's the coach? Like, for people who don't understand, like the situation going back to a corner. Like, if you don't already know what a coach is saying, if you're uneducated in fights, or you just have never been in a corner, like, I would love for the UFC to try and make it a learning experience, to curve it, to know for the regular person to understand a fighter's mentality of what he's about to hear sitting on that stool, like, because it just opens you up to all kind of, oh, okay, they saw this. What should I be looking for now? How do I relate to this situation? You know, it just kind of opens up avenues to better understanding the relationship as well between fighter and coach. And, you know, the UFC allows like one non-coaching member to be there, a relative of some kind, just someone to cheer you on and scream your name that to a distance you can hear it. But it's pretty cool. I wish the UFC would think a little harder and expand more on it. I think it'd be very, maybe not entertaining, but like I said, more of a learning thing for people who just don't understand the fight game and understand the mentality that these fighters have to stay in. Maybe what they're about to ask, or maybe what they saw. It brings a whole nother perspective to it. It makes it more like a 4D experience kind of thing. Just adds another layer too. But back to the main event. Damn good fight. From the opening bell, damn good fight. The switching of stances Max Holloway had to do to try and break through the defense of Arnold Allen. That defense was tight. I mean, hands up, standing up. In recent times, I haven't seen a defense more consistent and more persistent than that Saturday night. His hands were up the entire time. If he wasn't throwing, he was protecting. And that is just so taken for granted. Like, a good defensive game is so taken for granted in today's UFC culture. And to see what Arnold Allen did was really refreshing. Because if you look back at a lot of Max Holloway's, like, opponents back in the day. I mean, you know what Max Holloway does. He's the best boxer in UFC. He's top 3 overall strikers. I mean, if he threw a little more power in those leg kicks, he'd be number 1. But the leg kicks just aren't strong enough. But you see what he's done to people. Apart from Alexander Volkanovski, who is he not bludgeoned to near death? I mean, if you're fighting Max Holloway, you prep the cut man. Like, hey, man, this dude's about to fuck me up. I need stitches. I need as much Vaseline as you can find. I need all the freaking cotton buds you can stick in your glove at one time. I need it all. I need a spit bucket for my teeth. Like, you know you're about to feel like you're going into dental surgery afterwards. And that shit happens, guys. Getting punched in the mouth, I mean, it'll really feel like you just ate a drill bit that was in the drill press. It's pretty fucked up. So for Arnold Allen to avoid most of that damage that we've seen being put on by Max in the past, I mean, that explains it all right there, how good that defense is now. Almost airtight. I mean, Max had to work for it. I mean, he up until about round 3, I think, I'll have to go back and watch, Arnold Allen was pretty clean going back to his corner. Up until about round 3, about 3/4 of the way through, I want to say like at minute, with like about 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half left, minor nosebleed. And then you saw the interior eye cut, and then you started seeing blood from the mouth. He was pretty, I mean, he was making Max really work for it, throwing all this dynamic shit at him, spinning back fists, jumping knees, lead elbows. You saw a couple lead elbows there from Max, which were crispy and will fuck anybody up. I mean, you really saw Max work for it. You saw him throw less. He had to throw less. Because Arnold, for his great defense, was throwing hammers. I mean, he caught Max a few times. I mean, he shook Max up 2 or 3 times. Arnold's really good. And I spoke in the last episode, first episode, part 1, that Arnold really didn't know how good he was, and that's why he lose the fight. He proved me wrong. Somewhere in his camp prepping for this fight, he found out just how good he was, and that he now understood that he belonged in this division where he's at. Like, he deserves to be there. He's miles better than Josh Emmett. I mean, that number 4 ranking solid. I would love to see Arnold take on Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega is a little greasy. He's slippery. He's obviously a better grappler. He's coming off an injury against Yair. That'd be interesting. I think that's what's next for Arnold Allen. I would love to see it. I have a feeling Chen Sung Dung might get in there. That's also a good fight. Ilya Tapura might sneak away from, I think it was Brandon, like I said. No, Edson. I think Ilya Tapura might sneak in a shot at Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen would dispatch him pretty good. I don't know. That fight would go to the ground, and then that would be interesting. But I like Arnold Allen. He definitely earned a lot of my respect. The way he was able to keep his face mostly intact after that fight. However, let's talk pro Max here. If there was 30 more seconds in that final round, Allen's getting knocked the fuck out. I mean, I hope y'all watched it to the very end when Arnold just said, screw it, I'm here to bang, let's go. And then Max slips a hook and just catches him as Arnold's leaping at him. Yo, that was the finish, honestly. If that bell hadn't rung and there was 30 seconds, maybe a minute, that's the finish. That's the look that Max had to work for the entire night. That's how good Arnold Allen is that he didn't get a knockout look until the last 5 seconds of the match. Max Holloway still landed over 1,000 significant strikes. Sorry, 100. Sorry. Whoa, let's bring it down. Whoa. Don't let me talk my shit. Bring it down. Over 100 significant strikes. Despite Arnold's defense, still landed 100 significant punches and kicks. Wow. Too bad he can't do that against Yair Rodriguez. Oh, actually, no, he beat Yair. He can't do it against Volk. Sorry. I'm talking my shit. I get in my zone. He can't do that against Alex Volkanovski when it matters. So what's next for Max, guys? He's not getting younger, but he still looks great. I'll give that to him. He's not 40 yet. I don't know how near to 40 he is. Again, I'll have to research that for next episode maybe, or we'll just move on. But guys, what does Max Holloway have left to give the division? We talked about this last episode. I don't want to harp on it too much again. Does he fight Brian Ortega again? He dispatched him quick. Does he get Volk for the 4th time? The UFC hates quadrilogies. They've only done it once ever. I don't think the fans really... I'll say this. Max Holloway has a large fan base. So does Volk. Do those two fan bases really want to see that matchup again? I, as a Volk fan, like to the core, I am so less interested in a Holloway 4 than I am a Islam Makhachev 2. I'd rather see Volk challenge himself again after beating Yair, which he will, because he's just the greatest ever to ever do it in the featherweight division. I'd rather see him dispatch Yair, maybe give up the title if he beats Islam Makhachev and just stay a lightweight, and let Max and Yair duke it out for the undisputed, or maybe let Brian Ortega and Max fight that one again, or hell, have that Arnold Allen Max Holloway 2 for the undisputed. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, hey, we're 1-0, baby. Roll with me. Bet with me. I'll make you some money. Moving on. Again, great fight. Hats off to both of them. Congrats, Max Holloway. Hope you get what you want in your future. Moving on. Rumor has it that John Jones and Stipe Miocic haven't signed a single damn thing with this fight. What? I mean, hasn't Stipe been the guy to call out lately? Hasn't John Jones been calling out Stipe Miocic? Wasn't that the original fight in the first place for the title? I'm confused here. I'm confused. I know you're confused. I have nothing to help you settle this debate or settle this at all. They're just calling each other out on Twitter saying, you're ducking me. No, you're ducking me. You're a pussy. You're a pussy. I don't know. I have nothing for you except I saw it on Twitter and I thought it was kind of weird that this fight is still not signed and set and ready to go for International Fight Week, because that's not too far away. And that's the main event. That's going to be the biggest fight of the year outside of the Cyril Gane Jones return fight. It's the greatest heavyweight to ever do it versus the greatest fighter of all time. That's going to be, that's Conor McGregor numbers right there. That's going to break the top 5 grossing pay-per-view of all time. It's just wild to me. That's going to be a quick segment because there's really not much more to it. Get it done, Danny Dana. Get it fucking done. Get this fight signed and ready to go. I'm sick of the Twitter beef. I'm tired of old men on Twitter. We're all tired of old men on Twitter. We're tired of old men on Twitter. We're tired of old men fighting on Twitter. Come on, let's move on. Turning towards the future of the UFC in terms of fight week, we have one coming up, guys. It's gonna be a good one. My question is, why the fuck is Curtis Blaydes fighting Sergei Paplovich? What are we doing here? Why do we have number 3 and 4 going at it when number 3, and I'm looking at these rankings to the side, so if you see me look at the side, I'm looking at rankings. When number 3 was the backup fighter to Jones and Cyril Gane, but number 4 has beaten Aspinall, has beaten Tai Tuivasa, has beaten Jorginho Rosenstruik has beaten Derek Lewis, has beaten Chris Daukaus. Number 4 is on a 5, let me repeat that, 5-fight win streak. Again, I mean, I guess this has to be a number 1 contenders fight, right? But my thing is, isn't Sergey already the deemed number 1 contender if he was the backup fighter for Jones, Cyril Gane? So shouldn't Curtis Blaydes and maybe Tom Aspinall be fighting for an interim? And then Sergey just get the winner of Miocic and Jones? Or should Cyril Gane be fighting Sergei Paplovich? I don't know. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of over Cyril Gane at this point. I mean, who's he really beaten to get to where he's at? He's beaten Derek Lewis. He's beaten Tai Tuivasa, who was hot at the time. I don't know. I'm kind of over this athletic kickboxing Frenchman. He doesn't do it for me. He's not an MMA fighter. And with Jones at the top, he'll never get a sniff at the title ever again. Because, I mean, Jones dispatched him in, what, a minute and a half? Yeah, that's not good, Cyril Gane. You seriously work. Go over to Dagestan, brother. Go learn how to wrestle, brother. Go over to Khabib's camp, learn how to wrestle, then come back and then earn your way back. I think Cyril Gane should be out of the top 5. I mean, look at the rest of them. Stipe, who's coming out of retirement, I guess, to fight Jones. He'll retire after that fight. He'll get beat into retirement. So let's actually not look at Stipe. Sergey, Curtis, Tom, Ty, and Volkov. Those are all great fighters that could potentially, well, except for Ty, because we've seen it. Ty had Cyril Gane hurt. I don't want you to get it twisted. Ty had Cyril Gane hurt. Cyril Gane just recovered and was the better fighter that night. But I think if you run that back, I think Ty beats Cyril and then you go to rubber match. Just a hot take there, throwing that out. I think Ty's a great heavy hitter. I think he's a great character for the division. Super tough, just has the mega dog in him. Little careless with his chin though, a little careless with his positioning. I think if he ties up some footwork and gets just a little quicker with his hands and learns how to carry his weight better, maybe puts on a little more muscle, a little more power, put the touch of death in that right hand, I think he beats Cyril Gane. Not easily. I think he still gets battered pretty good because Cyril Gane's just a world-class kickboxer. But I think Ty's got a lot to say left in that division. I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't heard any promotions yet either. So we'll see. But I don't think Cyril Gane belongs in that top 10. Sorry, top 5. I don't. I really don't, guys. And you can shame me all you want. You can call me a pretend fan. But I've seen enough of Cyril Gane to know that he's the world's greatest faker. He doesn't belong in MMA. He's not it. He's one-dimensional. He is a fancy, light on his feet, heavyweight kickboxer. And John Jones exposed what we've all known to be true, which is you get Cyril Gane in a world that he can't move away. And by the way, the typical Frenchman move is to move away. Where he can't dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. He is a lamb to the slaughter. I mean, we all saw how easy that was. Everyone in my living room that night saw how easy that fight was. It was insanely quick. Just honestly a disgrace for the MMA world to see Cyril Gane even think he can contend against. And all the shit he talked. Oh my God, just awful. But back to the issue at hand. I think Sergey and Blaydes is the biggest just throwing a dog a bone fight for the heavyweight division. I think Sergei Paplovich is the go-ahead number 1 contender and also, again, the backup fighter to Stipe. Well, he can't now. He can't. If that fight gets signed soon and Sergey or Blaydes, or they just beat the fuck out of each other, which they won't because Blaydes is a wrestler. But if they both just beat each other to shit in 5 rounds, then do either one of them get signed as a backup fighter, or does it go straight to Tom Aspinall, who's healthy again, by the way? I don't want to even hear a sniff of Ty being the backup fighter because that's just a joke. But I feel like putting Sergey out of the number one contender spot and out of a guaranteed go ahead backup fighter, and giving Curtis Blaydes that chance to maybe beat him is kind of a slap in the face to Sergey after being the backup fighter to Jones Cyril Gane. I don't know, man. I think Curtis has done more than enough to earn a title shot at this point. I wasn't a fan of him at the beginning, but his comeback story has just it brought new fire for the passion that I have for this sport, because he got knocked the fuck out by Derek Lewis. Now it's on Derek Lewis's highlight reel every time he fights now. But man, he came back hot, and he's still hot. And I'll watch every fight card Curtis Blaydes is on. That is just, it's insane. It's insane. Are y'all not pissed off, though? I mean, maybe y'all don't know, but now you know. And now you know to be mad that Curtis Blaydes... Is Blaydes not pissed off? I haven't heard anything out of his camp. I'd be fucking furious that I'm fighting this guy. If I'm Blaydes, I've done enough. I would... but he hasn't fought in so long. He needs to fight. Anyway, guys, again, just a reminder, we're coming to you live every Monday and Friday. Predictions for this card are coming Friday. Stay tuned. I know we went a little over time like we did last time. Was a little shorter, but hopefully, these podcasts are about this time frame going forward. These videos, production's in the works. I'm going to get me a little fade in intro, a little fade out outro, maybe a little music. But until then, it's just me being a dork about MMA, keeping you guys informed, hopefully getting you guys some winning bets, some winning picks. 1-0, baby. Let's keep that percentage high. And stay tuned. I appreciate y'all. Peace.